So we agreed to attempt to seal the floor first instead of leveling it. And here you see the workers sealing the expansion joint seams. These are the seams that they cut into the concrete slab after it was poured to allow it to expand and contract and crack in a controlled manner if it's going to crack. So what they're doing is going through and sealing all of those joints now to prevent any water intrusion that might be coming up from underneath. Now, when the slab was poured, there was a vapor barrier put down. There was gravel put down, and then a vapor barrier, and then the slab was poured on top. So we shouldn't be getting any water, but out of an abundance of caution, we just wanted to seal those expansion joints. And here you see the workers putting down a coating, a sealant on top of the concrete. Now, this is like a rubberized membrane that you roll on wet. You see them there with the roller. And then once it dries, it's kind of like a rubber seal over the concrete, which should prevent any water. Now here's the after it's dried. You see the expansion joints have been sealed. The sealer has been rolled onto the floor, and then next they're going to come in and put an additional layer of plastic down. And then finally the floor will go on top of that. This is just another shot of the floor once it's been finished, ready for the new flooring to go down. And the reason we decided to do it this way was to try to prevent having to move out of the house while this was being done. We were hoping that we would be able to do one section and then move all the furniture. As you can see here, all of our furniture has been moved to the right side of this den area, and then we were hoping to be able to put the flooring down here and then move everything back and do the other side. But as you'll see, that really didn't work out. And here they are putting down some plastic on top of the slab after they've even put the sealer on. So they're trying to do everything they can to eliminate any water intrusion again, because before, that's why we're having to replace this floor, is before there was water either coming out of the slab or coming up somewhere and caused the original flooring to buckle. And here they're taping each of the seams with this Gorilla Tape to make sure that they're sealed well, and they're overlapping the plastic about a foot, I believe, 6 inches to a foot, to make sure that there's good coverage. So here you see the floor starting to go down now on top of the plastic. And what they do is they snap a chalk line and begin the first row, and then everything else is laid off of that row. So it's very important to get the first rows nice and straight. Here's another shot of the progress. See, they've had to remove the stove to get behind it. They'll have to remove the dishwasher. We'll have to remove the refrigerator. But again, at this point, we're trying to do it a piece at a time. Now you see this floor is a much harder vinyl plank floor. It's almost like wooden planks, whereas the original flooring that we had was more of a plastic kind of plank, and it was flexible in both the horizontal and vertical direction, so it would bend. And you see what happened there. He tried to tap that piece in place and it broke the corner. So this is a bit more brittle too. So the guys had a lot of problems with the pieces breaking, the interlocking pieces and the corners breaking on this particular flooring. So it took them a little bit of time to understand how much pressure they could put on it, how much they could beat on it to get it in place and still not break it. But this, as we learned, as they got more of the floor in, we discovered that the floor, the slab, was not level. And this harder plank floor was less forgiving than the other flooring we had, which was a more flexible flooring, which kind of would contour to the imperfections in the slab. So if there was a dip in the slab somewhere, it would just kind of dip right in with it, and it wasn't that big a deal. But this flooring, because it's more of a plank style, if there was a dip or a hump in the floor, then it caused a real problem, because it would not let the boards interlock the way they really should. And we'll see this in just a minute. They also had some problems with some of these boards that were not perfectly straight on the long edge. I don't know if they were bowed or if they were cut crooked, or the manufacturing process was not exactly straight. I would assume they bowed after the manufacturing process, but they wouldn't clip in this long edge like you see him trying to snap in now. They were bowed a little bit, and one side or the other would snap in, but not the middle part. So there were quite a few that they marked as waste or scrap because they just wouldn't go together. Now here's an example. See how he's rocking this board? You see that high spot there? So this is one of the areas that we had some trouble with, because he was trying to lock that in. You see what happens? See when I'm pressing on it with my foot? It's loose. So you see that board moving up and down? So it wouldn't lock together. And then when you walked on it, you got a lot of popping and cracking. Here's some photos that I took of it to show that too. You can clearly see how that one piece of board is sticking up. There you go. There's another shot. And it just would not lock in. You could they could tap it with the hammer and it would lock together and be flat. But as soon as you walked on it and it got any kind of stress, then it would pop apart. So after seeing this, it was pretty much decided that we were going to have to take this back up again, and we were going to have to level the floor with a leveling compound. And you'll see that we did that in some of the latter videos. Here's a shot of the original floor, the darker brown floor, and the new flooring. So I think the new flooring looks really good.